Guys, I've got to tell you about this thing that has captured my attention for the last week or so. It's called Fishtanklive. Have you heard of it? Basically, it's a crazy unhinged version of Big Brother that is honestly significantly more wholesome than I think the creators hoped that it would be. So today, we're going to take a look at it, figure out what it was supposed to be, and what it's turned into. Basically, the premise of the Fish Tank is that it's a 24/7 live reality show where 8, well less now, contestants compete to win a cash prize in a number of challenges. What makes it really special is the 24/7 nature of the whole thing. At any point in the day, you can tune in on their website, fishtank.live, and see what's going on in the house. And when I say that, I mean you can see pretty much everything going on in the entire house. The whole place is rigged up with cameras. Every single room, excluding bathrooms, meaning that the contestants are literally always on camera, and everything they do is content. The show is hosted by everyone's favorite rich oil tycoon, Jason Goldstriker, Hyde, and produced by Jet Neptune. I think the original plan was to turn the entire place into some kind of special circle of hell for the contestants. TTS is constantly on, and there are a number of sharks, members of the production crew, who don a costume and make it their special duty to mess with the contestants, who are usually referred to as fish. But before we get too far into the content of the show, I think you need to know a little more about the contestants. There were 8 contestants. 2 of them have dropped out because of an incident we will discuss later in the video, but here's what you need to know about the remaining 6 fish. Josie is the fan favorite by a mile. She's a 21-year-old woman from Arizona, and like most members of the tank, she's introverted and a little awkward. But that's what everyone likes about her. She's constantly fidgeting with her fidget spinner or other toys, including a little duck roller coaster thing that plays an instrumental of Witch Doctor constantly, and has gotten ooh ee ooh ah ah ting tang walla walla bing bang stuck in the heads of everyone watching the show. There is no shortage of fan videos made of her, specifically about her love of stuffed animals. They made it a donation goal to give Josie a stuffed animal, and she has so many that her bed is running out of room. Next up is the top J himself, John. 24 and from Oregon, John has gotten a bit of a reputation for being the main character in the show thus far, mainly because of his self-admitted autism, which makes him a bit loud and seems to get him into some interesting situations. John idolizes Andrew Tate and is not afraid to bring that up at any moment. He's also not afraid to give his own hot takes and has somehow slowly evolved into some kind of pseudo-preacher, since the only book he brought is the Bible, which he loves to read out loud. John also does not drink water unless it has been certified to not contain any fluoride, meaning that for several days he drank nothing but coffee, which certainly did not help him calm down at all. Then there's Violetta, or Letty. 23 years old and from Canada, Violetta is certainly an interesting character. She's playing the game well, I think. She's a bit of a schemer, IMO. She's constantly talking to 2 of the male contestants, John and Vance, and has made some interesting plans in regards to alliances with each of them. She's also the one fish that I think really doesn't mind John's outbursts, though I think she disagrees with some of his Andrew Tate-inspired opinions. Due to her schemes and being the first fish to resort to pissing in a bowl in a closet during one of the challenges, we'll get to that later, she's earned the affectionate nickname the Piss Witch, with a few variations. Next up is Vance. 25 years old and from Washington State, Vance is known for Vance-pilling the masses. He goes on some hyped-up soliloquies while alone in his room, but aside from those rare moments, he's incredibly chill most of the time. Known for his catchphrase, yeah, Vance seems to be going the route of trying to befriend everyone in hopes they won't vote him out, and to avoid making enemies. A strategy that seems to be working so far, though things did get a little rocky between him and John for a while. Vance is also very open about his relationship, and because of that, the Sharks and Jason Goldstriker constantly try to put him in slightly uncomfortable romantic situations with the tank's woman residents. Sylvia is the last of the tank's women, and probably the one that I can say the least about. She was very reserved until recently, but has begun to open up. She's 23 and from Oklahoma, goth, and not afraid to yell, especially at John. She's very into some more obscure music, and has used her music taste to befriend a few of her tank mates. Sylvia is probably the woman that's most focused on winning the competition, but will her drive to win end up backfiring on her? I think it might. Then finally we have Damiel. He's a bit of a wild card, that is, when he's awake. I've never seen someone sleep 20 hours a day like Damiel does, but when he's awake, he's a force of chaos in the house. So much that several of the contestants have accused him of being a plant. He's made an unlikely friendship with the much more reserved Josie, while at the same time essentially declaring war on John and Letty. He's also a fan favorite, but I think with how many enemies he's making, he may end up hurting his overall chances at winning. Not that he seems to care though. There were 2 other contestants in the fish tank, Simmons and Morrow. Simmons was abruptly let go from the show because of, well, some interesting things coming to light. To give you an idea of how serious this was, here's the clip of Jason Goldstriker kicking Simmons off the show.
Well, Simmons, allow me to say something that you'll understand in your language. 我要把你记住，记住. Translation: I'm kicking you off the show. Effective immediately, we'll be walking you out, taking you to a bus station in Fall River, and saying goodbye. You have 1.5 minutes to get your shit. Thank you. Go ahead.
Can I send off something?
Yes, please do. You can put the baby down also, Simmons.
Now, you might be asking yourself, why was Jason being so mean? Well, just before that clip, he read some clips from books Simmons wrote and showed the fish some of Simmons' previous Instagram posts. Let's just say there is a reason I'm not including that part of the clip. Essentially, the book he wrote about being a camp counselor has some suspect passages that the showrunners and a lot of fans allege were promoting grooming at best, but most likely a lot worse. Simmons maintains that it's just a translation/cultural error, since he had recently immigrated from China at the time of the book being published and the Instagram post. But that excuse did not really impress the Fishtank team, and they decided, correctly I think, to remove Simmons at that point, giving him minutes to pack, all the while being taunted by Goldstriker and then having the door to the house slammed in his face. The allegations against Simmons were so sickening and serious for the remaining fish that one fish, MattyO, decided that he was so sickened at having shared a bedroom with Simmons that he had to leave the show as well. It also greatly affected the other remaining fish. John, who had become particularly close to Simmons in the days prior, was especially affected. After Simmons was removed, John locked himself in the bathroom for a while, most likely crying. Goldstriker even had to go up and give a rousing speech, mostly lifted from a movie, but we can excuse that, to rouse John's spirits.
Because I'm about to give you a motivational speech through the door. If you don't open that thing, I'm just going to start talking. This is the biggest battle of our professional lives, okay? It all comes down to this. Now, we either heal as a fish tank, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, Simmons by Simmons, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, John, believe me. I see your young face. I look at you on these memes, people loving you, people hating you. I think I made every wrong choice a 40-year-old guy can make, John. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I like to pose like I'm rich. I got this $1 million foreign car. I pissed away my money. I chased off everybody who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. When you get old in life, John, things get taken from you. That's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's a game of inches. So is Fish Tank. Because in either game, life or Fish Tank, the margin of error is so small. I mean, 1/2 step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it.
The removal of Simmons from the fish tank was earth-shattering to the contestants, who were given one night off from the cameras to decompress. While we don't know exactly what happened that night, aside from John getting so drunk that he was pretty much sleeping in his own vomit when the cameras came back up, what we do know is that it drove the fish closer together, even making the enemies in the tank begin to be a lot more civil to each other. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the challenges. Like I said, the host of the show is Jason Goldstriker, a character played by Hyde. He pops in every day or two to give the fish some fun, or rather usually hellish, challenges to compete in. Some of the highlights include the baby challenge, where Jason paired off the fish and gave them realistic training babies, which needed to be fed, held, have their diapers changed, etc., or they'd cry. They also register abuse and neglect, sending the information back to the producers. The babies were maddening for the fish, who were constantly awakened by the crying. At one point, on the night of Simmons' removal, John's baby was crying for several hours straight as it had been abandoned in the upstairs. Letty unveiled her evil scheming side as she teamed up with Vance to steal John's fake baby, secretly bring it to the laundry room and shake it, which the robot would recognize as dangerous and lower John's score. This turned into chaos as John tried to get revenge, but ended up taking it out on the wrong people, stealing MattyO and Sylvia's robot baby and attempting to sabotage their score the same way Letty had done to him. This led to a massive screaming match between John and MattyO, with Sylvia also throwing in the occasional insult. To be honest, watching it, I thought MattyO was going to actually fight John over this. It went on for so long that the producer Jet had enough time to come upstairs, remind them to not get physical, go back downstairs, then emerge once again with a handheld camera to capture the fight close up. In short, the baby challenge did not go well for any of the contestants, least of which John, who eventually ended up shoving his robotic child in a cupboard and forgetting about it. Then there was the cell challenge, where Jason and Jet locked all the contestants in one of the bedrooms, with the last to get out winning some fish bucks, which are given as a reward from every challenge and equate to some prize money when the contestant holding them gets eliminated. The cell challenge, it was actually hell. TTS constantly taunting the contestants, Jason Goldstriker training with John, and throwing up in the closet after doing 30 push-ups, Letty pissing in the closet. Unspeakable horrors were committed in that bedroom. It was straight up psychological torture, especially with a robotic baby occasionally crying in the middle of it all. Also, at one point, John just kind of kicked a hole in the wall and then kept his foot there as if he was going to be able to hide it. There's so much more to this show too. From Jason slowly training John and occasionally beating him up in sparring matches, to Ben from the production team occasionally emerging to tell the fish a hellish story from his life, then abruptly leaving. Jet Neptune and Samhyde have created something special here. Since a lot of the time when there's no challenge going on, the fish just interact and live their lives. You slowly get to know each of them and become attached to them. And at the same time, they've all become attached to each other. Jason, Jet, and the other production members. Watching the interactions between Jet and John are especially wholesome, with Jet being astonished by John most of the time, but slowly warming up to him. Jason and John have this weird sensei student thing going on, with John basically taking Mr. Goldstriker's word as gospel most of the time. I tuned in earlier today and saw them doing an impromptu Bible reading session using a karaoke machine, only for Jet to come up to give them some production news, Daniel to ask if they could take a break from John's sermon, only for Jet to tell Daniel that they didn't actually have to stay and listen to John, they were just seeing how long people would be willing to sit there. There's so much more I can say, but it all boils down to this. Throw up Fishtank on your second monitor and give it some time. It will grow on you eventually. And just like me and my friends, you'll probably become addicted to it too. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching till the end. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day, and God bless you.